Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's your friend Noe. Bear with me. This is more of a public service announcement or a warning. As you see from the title, yes, the state of Maine is willfully ending my life. So bear with me and let me explain the whole story. Maine, like California, New York, Minnesota, Illinois, many of these Democrat-run and controlled states, is riddled with fraud like you wouldn't believe, and the corruption. And for years here in Maine, they've slid under the radar, and your mainstream media don't have too much to say about it, unless now it's the big joke that for years the left has called Donald Trump a Nazi and fascist and this and that, and they overwhelmingly voted for one, and they want him to unseat Susan Collins. But that's not the story. The story is, for a few decades, Maine has slid under the radar by importing tens of thousands of people that are not supposed to be in this country. And we know of a certain little northwestern African country that Minnesota, the little smoke and mirror game going on there. Well, the same thing's been going on here. They fight we need housing. We need affordable housing for these poor, low-income Mainers and the elderly Mainers. So, of course, the liberals here in Maine, they just love to, yes, here, we'll vote for help for all these poor people because, these Christians don't do it. Well, millions and millions of dollars, and they build these massive housing complexes in all these cities like Portland and Bath and Brunswick and Bangor and Sanford, and even up north in Presque Isle and Caribou. But guess what happens? As soon as this complex is complete, low-income Mainers and elderly Mainers do not get the units. They are not allowed to apply because the state takes these people that are not supposed to be here, that they have paid and given bus tickets to come from Texas, Arizona, New Mexico, California, and they ship them across the country, and they wind up here, and the Democrats now in Maine call them new Mainers. That's what they're calling them. So, these so-called new Mainers are put right into these housing complexes. And they are given free rent, free health care, free food, free electricity, free internet, cable, free college if they want it, and oh yeah, here's $3,000 a month spending money. Aren't we great people? And at the same time, when it comes to Medicaid, to give you an idea, any Mainer fill out a business application and send it in for approval and to get their business license and stuff, any Mainer, their application is filed under that little wastebasket off to the side. And new Mainers come first. Well, this one new Mainer right in Portland, He created 18 businesses. And these businesses, they're for home health care and helping the autistic people and, daycares and hospice care and home nursing and all of this. But there's a catch. He's got no employees and he has no customers. But he billed Maine Care $46 million. So when all this comes to light, the state protects him and hides him. And there's many other programs here in Maine that this is happening with. And we have the Soros-backed Maine People's Alliance, that they don't get money directly. They have what is called a 401c4 charity, nonprofit organization. And they do not have to disclose who their donors are. It's called dark money. It is Maine Alliance Financial. And these people are picking up millions of dollars from cities and state and counties, and that money goes directly to their parent company. Their parent company hires out all the little brain-dead liberals to go knocking on doors so they can ensure, and they fight to get their people elected into town council, into state representation, your state congress, this, that. So it's all done with your money through backdoor channels. And Maine has made this all legal for them to do so. So now, why I'm telling you this, millions and millions and millions of dollars in fraud. Even the COVID thing, there's millions of dollars in fraud that is being found here, that people have gotten money, that protective thing, and it's being exposed. When we had that rampage a couple of years ago go through Lewiston, Maine, and ended the life of 18, 19 people, there was a fund set up to help the families of those that were affected by this. Oh yeah, a certain person from that northwestern country in Africa received 80% of the money. And it was all right through the state that did this. But this is what's been going on in Maine. Now the reason for this video. The public service warning is what they're doing to me right now will happen to you. It will happen to you. It'll happen to your loved ones. At some point, it's going to come home to roost to you. About 11 years ago, I started having problems breathing. And finally, after about 6-7 months of dealing with a lung doctor and everything, and at that time I was on my wife's insurance through her work. Now, they're testing and they're checking, and then they found that, well, you have COPD, emphysema. And they blamed it on this, they blamed it on that, blah, 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 blah. And I says, well, all that's gone now. Oh, okay, so here, and the doctor did. He says, our goal is to get you through the next 10 years. And God is great. I'm over 11 years now. But bear with me. back here, the 11 years ago, we know that how employees were given not good health insurance. The costs were going up, the co-pays were going up, the out-of-pockets were going up. And now I find myself unable to work a good job because I can't breathe. My lungs are being deteriorated and I can't breathe. And yes, I fought for 8-9 years for disability and got the runaround from the state of Maine and the federal government as well. But that's immaterial. So finally it got to the point where this is crazy. You know, we have a house, we have a couple children that they're getting ready, they're old enough and they're going out on their own and stuff. But we have to live. And my health is taking up everything we have. So I says, well, my wife is a veteran. And she went and signed up for the VA. And she got in with the VA for her health care. And I said, I'm just going to have to go on Medicaid. I'm going to have to get Maine Care. I mean, this is turning into thousands and thousands of dollars. And they got to find out what is going on with my lungs. Why are my lungs deteriorating? And the daily inhalers are somewhat helping, but it's not stopping. Something's happening. So finally, about 6-7 years ago, well, excuse me, let me back up. About 9 years ago, I commenced a fighting with the state with this lung problem. And I fought for a year before they finally, all this and everything. And I finally sat down and said, I want an in-person interview with these bigwigs in the Department of Health and Human Services. I'm done this filling out paperwork and waiting. I can't. My health is deteriorating. I can't afford. It got to the point I couldn't even afford my inhalers anymore. So I sat down, and you know what the excuse the guy on the phone from Augusta gave? Oh, well, if the doctors don't tell us that, we don't know. He blamed it on the doctors. Even though they have my medical records, they have everything the doctor, but that's immaterial. So, yes, boom, they awarded me Maine Care because of a debilitating lung disease. So, that's covering my daily inhalers that are $1,500 a month for the inhalers. And the doctor's visits, and the testing. And finally, the doctor says, you're at 40% lung function. I want to test for something because something's not right. And it's a DNA and a blood analysis test. And this found what they call alpha-1 antitrypsin deficiency. It is a genetic disorder that my liver does not produce a protein that my lungs need. Your body produces two proteins. One goes in and it goes after infections and pollutants and stuff and different things within your lungs. But this antitrypsin goes in and it has to more or less eliminate the first protein. Because if the first protein continues and there's no infection and there's no pollutants, it turns and it starts eating away at what they call the elastate wall of your air sacs until, boom, the air sac no longer works. You have nothing but a big bubble, a big balloon in your lung. And it just keeps, and that's a form of emphysema. and it just keeps destroying your lungs until, well, you go meet your maker. So they found it, and he says there is an Alpha 1 foundation, and this foundation, they have a treatment. I want you to talk with them. And so this foundation has devised a augmented therapy, it's called. It's a weekly infusion where they take plasma from healthy people with the normal amount of the antitrypsin, and they infuse it into my blood every week to put in that protein that my body does not produce. And they informed me 5.5 years ago, they said, we cannot reverse the damage already done by this disease. What we can do is we can dramatically decrease the effect that it's having on your lungs, if not stop it in place. And for me, believe it or not, in 5.5 years, it has kept me at 40% lung function. Lung function, the 40% that I have, what it is, I can breathe air in, but I can't breathe air out. It's hard to get that trapped air out. So my lungs keep getting overinflated, and there's different things that I do to help create a back pressure that get that excess air out and make it easier for me to breathe. But without that augmented therapy that I get every week, the attack on my lungs will commence right back to where it was. Now, for some reason, after 5.5 years, the state has all my medical records. They know that I am only at 40% lung function, so everything I do, my daily life, is very slowed down because like right now, see, I run out of breath because my lungs cannot keep up with my body's demand for oxygenated blood. I get very tired. I have a heart rate of high 90s to sometimes walk up a flight of stairs and my heart is at 120. I go outside and walk around the house or play with the dog a little bit, 5-10 minutes. I have a heart rate of 140, 150, and I am out of breath. I am done because my lungs cannot keep up. And the state knows this. Now, my wife, she is retired. She still has the VA, and she's on, like all elderly people get. They get the Medicare. I am not old enough yet for Medicare. I have a couple years to go. So, what it is, being in my early 60s, 40% lung function, here a week before, or the Friday before Memorial Day here about 3 weeks ago, the state sends me a letter. They're taking my health care away. You know what their claim was? No doctor has ever declared you disabled. When it's classified at below 50% lung function, you are automatically disabled because you can no longer function in a proper manner. And they know this. And they're pulling my insurance. So, you know what else they told me? Oh, here, sign up for Maine Marketplace. Obamacare. You know what that consists of? That consists of a 20% copay on all medications and doctor's visits and tests or whatever. They want me to have a yearly CT scan, CAT scan of my lungs to monitor what's going on and to make sure that the dead parts of my lungs, I do not get lung cancer from it. So they monitor that. That's $3,500 for a 2-minute lay down so they can run the CAT scan around you. 2 minutes, $3,500. I would have to cover 20% of that. Remember, no income. We've gone through everything we had saved and everything. Good thing is I paid for everything. I didn't create massive debt. So we're living, and that's it. Now, the nurse that comes here and that augmented therapy, I don't know what they charge for her. I don't know if it's part of the monthly bill. But that augmented therapy per month is $9,800 for the medications and the IV supplies and everything that they send here, and the nurse comes here. Where am I going to get 20% of that per month? Do the math. Do you know that's around a little over $1,900 copay for 20%? Oh, and my daily inhalers, that's $1,500 a month. I'd have to come up with 20% of that, which would be another couple $100. Starting to see now? Where am I going to come up with $2,500 to $3,000 a month in copays? And what happens when you can't pay for your copay? They shut you off. That's not counting. That's not counting if they're going to give me a premium for my Maine marketplace Obamacare. And this is while all the politicians, all the state workers, your school teachers and stuff, do you know that the taxpayers kick out $25,000 to $30,000 a year so they get their health care for free? And that $30,000 a piece policy, they have no copays, they have no premiums, everything is covered. That is a Cadillac healthcare plan that you pay for them. And while all these people that are not supposed to be in this country are living for free, and some are defrauding the system by millions of dollars, they're taking an everyday American that I put my work in for years, and I paid for all of these services. Unwilling, yes, they just took it out of my paycheck every week to the tune of hundreds of thousands of dollars. So then when it comes down to me needing the service that I paid for, they deny. They shut me off. After 5.5 years, they shut me off. So yes, the state of Maine is willingly ending my life, and they know they are. And I know show this around, show the people this is what's going on. But I also know something else, and it's a sad state of affairs in America today. People don't care. It's not happening to them, so they don't care. It's not happening to their loved ones, so they don't care. when I leave the land of the living, somebody may talk about it. Oh, what a tragedy. But did you see what Trump said? Did you see what Schumer said? Did you see what this See? They're trapped. They're trapped in their devices. And that's a shame. They care more about their own prestige and their own clout, internet clout, than they do human dignity. I know the lefties out there, they'll love it. Oh, there's another Trump supporter. Ha 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 ha, he's gone. Hee hee. Right. But wait until it's happening to them. You know, all of this is to cover up the fraud that's going on. So they think, I'm going to blame Trump for this. And it's not Trump. It's General, I coined her Comrade General Mills and her merry band of communist misfits that have run this state into the ground for 8 years. Tim Walz 2.0. This is Maine is Minnesota, California 2.0. And we have a president trying to clean it up, but we have a Congress that's fighting him tooth and nail because they all benefit from the fraud. They all benefit from the corruption. It's like George Carlin said one day, it's a big club, and you ain't in it. So, I have no idea what God's plan is in all this. Maybe he just figures it's my time. I knew the day would come, but I thought it would at least play out that it would just, even with the medications and stuff, there was going to come a time when my body just couldn't keep it up anymore. But at this point, just to be up and shut off of the only thing that's keeping me alive? You know the word for that. Begins in M and ends in R. But it's the government, so it's legal. So like I said, ladies and gentlemen, your day will come. They will do it to you. And they're happy about it. They don't care. Your life means nothing. Not only to the government, the state government, the local government, your county government, but sadly, 80% of the Americans around you. Because if it doesn't affect them, they don't care. I hate to say it that way, but that's just how it is. And if I have to go meet God, I have to go meet God. That's just how life is. If it's one thing certain, you don't get out of this life alive. I just didn't think the very state that I was born and raised and lived in my whole life would be the cause of me leaving the land of the living. And they're proud to do it. And they're happy with themselves. And there is no government agency out there. There is no politician. It's an election season. They're not going to stand up for me. They're not going to speak out for me. My state representative, too busy, running for re-election. State senator, she's too busy, running for re-election. Our other state senator, well, he's an independent Democrat. And he's a part of the problem. Our two representatives in Maine, they're both Democrats and a part of the problem. And they don't care. Our federal government, they don't care. It's what looks good in front of the camera. So, there you have it. That's where I'm at. I would say my normal ending, but it's kind of, until next time, God willing, this is No Way Out. Ladies and gentlemen, this may be my last video. Because without my inhalers and that infusion, my lungs are not going to hold up. They can't. So, it is what it is. So I guess I'll end with goodbye.